Welcome to the deep dive. Ready to dig into how to totally nail that surface mine plant operator interview?
I am. We've got a career guide, an interview guide, and even a peek into RoleCatcher's awesome collection of interview questions. We're going to cover it all.
Awesome. But this deep dive is about more than just getting the job right. We want a real career.
You got it. We're talking about how to ace the interview A&D, how to thrive long-term in this whole industry. It's exciting.
Okay, so let's jump right in. What will you actually be doing as a surface mine plant operator?
The career guide makes it sound pretty cool, actually. It talks about operating those massive excavators and dump trucks. Like, you're out there shaping the earth, getting those valuable resources out, working with some serious machinery, definitely dynamic, and you see real results.
Yeah, it's not just about muscle though, right?
No way. The guide really stresses this thing called spatial awareness. You're
Yeah.
maneuvering these giant machines in a constantly changing, sometimes tricky environment. You got to be precise, aware of everything around you, and making safe choices in real time. That's intense.
Which leads perfectly into the interview itself. Because showing you have those skills starts the second you walk into that interview room or log on to that video call, right?
Absolutely. So let's get into some of the questions RoleCatcher's AI says are common for this role.
Okay, first up, probably one you've heard before. Tell me about a time you had to prioritize safety over speed or efficiency while operating heavy machinery. Sounds simple, but how can you make your answers stand out?
This is your chance to really show them you're all about safety. Because in this job, safety is everything. They want a real specific example where you proved safety was your top priority, even if it meant slowing down or changing your approach.
So don't just say safety is important, right? Tell them a story.
Exactly. Use the STAR method. Just quickly walk them through the situation, the task you were facing, the action you took to put safety first, and the result. So let's say you're operating a haul truck and you see a crack in the road near a blast zone. That's your situation. You got to transport the material quick and efficiently. But, driving over that crack could make it worse and be risky for everyone. So you stop, report the issue, wait for the area to be checked and cleared. That's the action. Result. A potential danger is spotted and taken care of, which prevents a possible accident or delay.
That's a perfect example. Using the STAR method to tell a story that really shows your good judgment and responsibility. Plus, you got those technical details in there specific to the role.
And remember, this is just one example. You think about your own experiences and find those times when you had to make tough calls like that. And always be ready for follow-up questions. They might ask, what do you do to make sure your workspace stays safe for you and everyone else?
Yeah, good point. Okay, on to another common question. Describe a situation where you had a mechanical issue with your equipment. How did you troubleshoot and resolve it?
This one's all about showing off what you know about the tech stuff and how you solve problems. STAR method again. Like, did a hydraulic hose spring a leak? Engine warning light, come on. What did you do to figure out the problem? Did you check the operator's manual? Use any diagnostic tools?
Here's where you can really impress them with your knowledge of that equipment. And don't just focus on the technical stuff. Let them see you're passionate about the work. Did you enjoy figuring it out? Were you determined to get that machine back up and running?
Exactly. Enthusiasm goes a long way. And again, be ready for those follow-up questions. They could ask, what resources do you use to stay up to date on equipment maintenance and troubleshooting procedures? They really want to know how you think.
It's like they're trying to get inside your head, but you'll be ready.
And that's where RoleCatcher's AI comes in to help. You can actually practice answering these exact questions on their platform and get AI-powered feedback. It'll even look at your delivery, what you're saying, even your body language.
That's like having your own personal interview coach 24/7, right? And it's not generic feedback. This AI is customized to the surface mine plant operator role. It analyzes your answers thinking about the mining industry and what those hiring managers want to see.
Exactly. Now, let's try a question about your people skills. Have you ever had to work with a difficult colleague? How did you handle the situation?
Ooh, a classic. We've all been there. What's the best way to approach this one?
Don't badmouth that colleague. Focus on what you did to keep things professional and productive. For example, let's say you had a coworker who always cut corners on safety procedures. That's your situation. Your task is to get the job done safely and efficiently. You could talk about how you calmly talked to the colleague, explaining your concerns and the risks involved. Maybe even share a personal story or a safety statistic to really drive home the point of those procedures.
Nice. That shows you can communicate well and deal with tough situations in a constructive way.
And be ready for follow-ups like, how do you handle conflict resolution in a team setting? They want to see you understand effective communication and finding common ground, which is super important in any team.
Now, this next question digs into your career goals a bit. They might ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years within the surface mining industry? Don't let this one throw you off guard.
Honesty and specifics are key here. Do you see yourself specializing in a certain type of equipment? Do you want a supervisory role? Maybe you're interested in the new technologies they're using in the field, like autonomous haulage systems.
Oh, that's a great example. Shows you're forward thinking and can adapt,
Yeah.
which are valuable in any industry, especially one that's always changing, like mining.
And by tying your goals to the career progression they talk about in that career guide, you're showing you've actually thought about your path and how this job fits into your big plan.
Talking about the career guide, it mentions that the mining industry is cyclical. What does that mean for someone starting their career?
Good news first. The mining and quarrying industry is projected to grow. Good for job stability. But it's also affected by economic cycles, what those commodity prices are doing, and global demand. Those things can make things go up and down.
So how do you navigate those ups and downs when you're just starting out?
The career guide says to focus on always learning and getting new skills. Stay ahead of the game, learn those in-demand skills, and you become even more valuable, even when things are slow economically.
So while you're focused on acing this interview, it's good to keep that long-term view in mind. Which leads us to another common question. Why are you interested in working for this company as a surface mine plant operator?
Research time. Don't just give a generic answer like, you're a great company. Find something specific that speaks to you. Maybe it's their commitment to sustainable mining, their investment in employee training, or even a particular project that you're interested in.
So it's about showing you've done your homework and are genuinely interested in being part of their success.
And don't forget, an interview is a two-way street. You're checking them out too, seeing if they're a good fit for you. So come prepared with your own thoughtful questions.
What kind of questions are we talking about?
Ask about their safety training program, what their plans are for new technology, even their company culture. Like, you could ask, what are some of the biggest challenges the company faces in the next year?
That's a great one. It shows you're thinking about the future and interested in the big picture.
Plus, their answer can give you valuable clues about their priorities and where they might be growing.
All right, we've covered a lot. Let's take a quick break and come back for more interview questions and strategies to help you absolutely dominate that surface mine plant operator interview. Stick with us.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Let's jump right back into those interview questions, shall we?
Right back to it. Okay, how about this one? It might seem basic, but it can really tell them about your technical knowledge. Can you explain the pre-operational checks you perform before operating a piece of heavy machinery?
They want to be sure you're not just hopping in and going right. Walk them through those important checks. Show you understand safety A&D equipment maintenance.
So checking fluid levels, tire pressure, brakes, lights, all that good stuff.
Exactly. But don't just list them off. Tell them why each check is so important. For instance, you could say, before operating a haul truck, I always check the tire pressure. Underinflated tires can mean less fuel efficiency, more wear and tear, and even blowouts, which is a huge safety hazard.
That connects the check to what could happen if you skip it.
Right.
So you're thinking about safety and efficiency, not just going through the motion.
And here's where you can add in some more technical detail to really impress them. Mention some specific components that are common on those big mining machines, like, I also make sure to check the articulation joint for any wear or damage because that joint is crucial for how the truck moves and stays stable on rough terrain.
Now that shows a deeper understanding of the equipment. So what about questions focusing on specific skills? The career guide says teamwork is big in surface mining. How might that come up in an interview?
They could ask something like, give an example of a time you had to work really well with others to achieve a goal. This is where you highlight those communication, problem solving, and people skills.
And it doesn't have to be some dramatic situation, right? Could be something like working together to make loading more efficient or fixing a small equipment problem.
Exactly. It's about how you helped the team succeed. Like, we were having delays loading the haul trucks because the excavator operator and the spotter weren't communicating clearly. So I suggested we use a standard hand signal system, and that got everyone on the same page. Loading times went down by 15%.
That's perfect. You're showing you can solve problems and take initiative.
And don't forget to put numbers to your results whenever you can. Numbers make your story more believable and show the impact of what you did.
Speaking of impact, here's one that can be a little stressful. What are your salary expectations? How do you handle that?
Research, research, research. Sites like Glassdoor and Indeed can give you an idea of what similar positions in your area are paying. Think about your experience, your skills, and what this specific job requires.
And don't be afraid to negotiate.
Of course, but remember, it's a negotiation, not a fight. Be confident, respectful, and focus on the value you bring.
Great advice. Okay, so beyond nailing the specific questions, any other strategies that can make someone stand out in a surface mine plant operator interview?
Definitely. Research the company thoroughly. Understand their values, their projects, their safety record, what they do for the environment. All that's on company websites, industry publications, even social media.
And when you weave that knowledge into your answers, it shows you're genuinely interested and put in the effort to learn about them.
Another good tip, have some thoughtful questions ready for them. Shows you're curious and engaged. Plus, you get info to decide if it's the right place for you.
Like what kind of questions?
You could ask about their training programs, how they help people develop their careers, even what their plans are for new technologies. What are some things the company is doing to create a strong safety culture? Or what are the opportunities for professional growth within the company?
Those are good ones. It's about more than just getting a job. It's about finding a career path where you can grow and make a difference. You mentioned the mining industry is always changing, so how can someone stay ahead of the curve and set themselves up for long-term success?
The Career Guide has a whole section called Elevating Your Career with some great advice. They say continuous learning is key. Going to industry conferences, getting certifications, keeping up with the latest technologies, all those things help you stay competitive.
It's like a cycle. You learn and grow, you excel in your job now, and you're ready for whatever comes next.
Exactly. And never underestimate the power of networking. Building connections with others in the industry can give you valuable insights, mentors, and even open doors to new opportunities you didn't know about.
It's not just about climbing the ladder, it's about expanding your network and connections, which is so important.
And that's another place where RoleCatcher's AI can be a game changer. Their platform has a feature called Interview Practice with AI Feedback. You can practice answering common interview questions and get personalized feedback on how you deliver those answers, what you're saying, even your body language.
Like having a virtual coach who can watch you and give you advice.
Exactly. What's really cool is that the feedback is tailored to the specific job role. So if you're practicing for a surface mine plant operator interview, the AI takes into account the skills and qualities that mining industry hiring managers are looking for.
That's super valuable. Takes the guesswork out of interview prep and helps you focus on the things that'll make you stand out. Now let's move on to some other really important things that can make or break how you do in that interview. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've really gone deep on this one, haven't we? From those tricky interview questions to the whole mining industry landscape.
Yeah, we've even gotten some help from AI using RoleCatcher to polish those interview skills and give you an advantage.
Absolutely. But there's one big part of the interview we haven't talked about yet. I call it the first impression factor.
Ah, yes. That's how you present yourself, right? It can make a big difference.
Exactly. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it. What you're wearing, your body language, how you carry yourself. It all adds up to that first impression you give the interviewer.
It's about showing you're professional, respectful, and genuinely interested, making sure your outside matches the skilled professional you are on the inside.
So let's break it down. What are some practical tips for making a great first impression?
Well, first of all, dress right for the occasion. Now, this can depend on the company and the energy setting, but generally aim for business casual. A nice button-down shirt or blouse, slacks or a skirt, and definitely closed-toe shoes are a good bet. And of course, make sure your clothes are clean, pressed, and fit well.
You want to look sharp and ready to go, not like you just rolled out of bed, or a haul truck for that matter.
Exactly. And pay attention to the little things. Make sure your shoes are polished, your hair is neat, and your fingernails are clean. These small details can really affect how people see you.
What about body language? Any advice there?
Eye contact is key. Give a firm handshake when you meet them. Sit up straight, relax your shoulders. All this shows confidence and that you're paying attention. And smile. A real smile makes you seem more approachable and friendly.
Like you're saying, I'm glad to be here and I'm ready to show you what I can do.
Exactly. Now we should talk about virtual interviews. Those are pretty common these days. Any specific advice for those?
Good point. Those first impressions online can be a little trickier. What do you think?
The same basic ideas apply, but there are a few extra things to keep in mind. Pick a background that's well lit and not too cluttered. Test your tech beforehand, make sure your sound and video are working, and even though they might only see you from the waist up, dress professionally head to toe. You'd be surprised how much more confident that can make you feel.
Like dressing for success, even if you're at home. Speaking of confidence, how can you really project that during the interview?
Practice is key. The more you practice your answers, the more relaxed and confident you'll be. And remember, an interview is a two-way conversation, not an interrogation. Relax, be yourself, and let them see how enthusiastic you are about the job.
And if you trip over a word or two, don't sweat it. Take a breath, get back on track, and keep going. Everyone makes mistakes, and interviewers get that.
Exactly. It's all about how you handle those moments. And remember, RoleCatcher's AI interview practice tool can really help you smooth out your delivery and boost your confidence. Practicing and getting that feedback is so helpful.
It's like a secret weapon. Now, before we wrap up, there's one last thing I want to mention. And that's sending a thank you note after the interview.
Ah, the thank you note. Simple, but so effective.
It shows you're professional, courteous, and truly interested. A well-written thank you note can also remind them of your qualifications and make that good impression last.
And it doesn't need to be a long, formal thing. A short email saying thank you and how excited you are about the opportunity is perfect.
Like a final touch to help you stand out.
Exactly. It shows you're thoughtful and appreciative, and those are great qualities in any employee.
Well, I think we've covered it all. Everything you need to know to ace that surface mine plant operator interview. We've explored the role itself, broken down tough questions, talked about what it takes to succeed in this industry, and even got a little help from AI with RoleCatcher.
And remember, this is just the start. The mining industry has tons of opportunities for growth and advancement. With the right prep and the right mindset, you can build a really amazing career.
So go out there, crush that interview, and start your mining journey. And if you ever need a refresher or want to explore other careers, you know where to find us, right here on The Deep Dive.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.